Okay, so hello, I'm Emily Edwards, an intern with Climate Film, and what you just watched was Steve and Steve, a very funny and creative short film in our Northern Shorts category. With us today is the film director Merve Kerder. Merve, it's nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
So as I watched the film, I got curious of what kind of meaning this film has, and if there was some kind of secret meaning to this film itself. Was there some kind of meaning, and what would the meaning be to the audience?
Yeah, it was about this kind of corporate life and like just kind of finding uniqueness within like the ordinary. The writer, the screenwriter of the film, Charlie Latourette, he worked in insurance industry, I believe, healthcare industry for like decades, and then he had a passion for film and theater. And when he retired, he started like focusing on his passion, and he had the script. It was actually written for theater, but so it kind of reflects on kind of his experience of like, you know, he had this kind of a unique talent, but like he was kind of almost trapped in this kind of corporate system. So yeah, it came from that, and I tried to kind of incorporate that meaning in the animation.
Like how it's better to, you may be hiding that you're special in some kind of way, just try to
Yeah,
fit in.
yeah, it's kind of like that. Like they're almost identical to each other, two Steves, like Steve and Steve. But like they're like, I'm unique, you know, like, and then like I'll show you, and then they drop their pants and they think they're unique because they're wearing those like orange sparkle shorts, and in reality they're both wearing the same shorts. It's not even making them unique.
Seeing how you put something that everybody deals with into a comedic way, what made you want to make a short film about two men who seem to be the same but are very different?
Yeah, I read the script that Charlie wrote, and then at first, like when I heard that he was looking for an animator, I was kind of, I wasn't sure if I like have the time at the time, and like, but when I read it, I was like, this is good. I mean, I related to it because I actually I wanted to like work in animation like all my life, but I ended up like studying architecture, and I worked at like companies. I worked in a furniture company back in Turkey, where I'm from, and I wasn't happy. I was like, I wanted to like get into some more creative field. So I related myself like, yeah, I wanted to be unique. I wanted to do something different, and like I was stuck in this cubicles. Um, I was actually literally selling cubicles at the office furniture company. So, and then I eventually moved to the US to study theater here. And now I work in stop motion animation. I work as a set designer in feature films. And I feel like I finally found that creative outlet that I was looking for. So yeah, when I read the script, I felt a connection.
What kind of change did it take to stop from being at a white collar job all the way to coming to the US and doing something that you were passionate about and to animation? What made you want to go straight to animation?
Yeah, I always liked animation, but the turning point for me was I think it was 2013. I watched Paranorman, and it was a Leica's, I think, second feature film. And when I watched it, after that I started like watching their behind the scenes videos on YouTube. And I also have a model making background. When I was a student, I was studying interior architecture. I worked at like architectural model shops. I made the scale models of buildings and stuff. So when I was watching the behind the scenes videos, I saw like there was this one specific video that someone was making like a desk lamp with like all the, you know, the details and things, and then at the end they show the scene that it's used, and there are like multiple of them, and there are a bunch of other stuff. It was like a library scene. And when I saw it, I was like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want to do because I can make models. I love animation. And like, this seems like a field that is like a combination of my strengths and my passion and the things I enjoy doing. So I started looking at grad schools, master programs, and I wasn't really sure how to get there because it's kind of like there's no school for set design for stop motion animation. And I ended up getting into California State University's theater set design program. And then when I graduated again, it was kind of a little bit hard to navigate because it's not like this creative field. It's not like on Indeed.com you write like set design for stop motion and you get job listings. It's kind of more of doing things and then finding. Yeah, and for me, it was I made a short film called Mother of All Flowers, and that short film kind of got into festivals and stuff, and then that became kind of my portfolio, like that kind of showed that.
So people could scout you, huh?
Yeah, and then I ended up getting in Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio as a set designer, and that kind of, and currently I'm working at Leica again as a set designer. So that was my path. I started with a Leica movie and I ended up working at Leica.
I love that you followed your dream, even if it was hard. I love that so much.
Thank you.
So since you did a stop animation for your short film, what kind of strategies and skills did you have to put into doing a project that takes so much time?
Yeah, part of it is just patience. That's a part. But also, it's kind of, I guess it's a combination of like model making is part of it. Or, I mean, there's so many different ways too. Like it's hard to, like, for example, Steve and Steve was a cutout animation. So I used like colored papers and just kind of cut out the characters to make puppets. But then there, this claymation kind of, it requires different set of skills and like there are different types of stop motion too. But I guess in general, like there's an eye for scale maybe could be needed, or just I mean it's just basically telling the story with what you have, which is the fun part. Like you kind of invent along the way some stuff. Yeah, it's just, I guess the biggest thing it needs is curiosity. I think that will be the answer.
Do you think learning architecture actually helped you learn a little bit more about like set design and stop animation a little bit more, like have a better understanding?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what I'm doing as a set designer is basically architecture. I prepare the building, like blueprints of the sets, which most of it is architecture knowledge, and also set design. I mean, theater set design also plays into that. Yeah, I think both of them helped. But the most thing, I mean, when you're directing, though, I think the thing that helps the most is like watching as many animations as possible to see. There's so many possibilities, right? Like you kind of get ideas and see like, oh, that can be done, right?
Yeah, you have to do a little bit of studying yourself to learn.
Yeah, but if you love stop motion, that's like you enjoy doing that anyway. You enjoy watching them.
So what made you want to go with the name Steve and Steve? Like that's just such a generic, easy name. Did you want it to be very memorable and easy?
That was the name of the script that Charlie wrote. I wasn't the one who came up with it, but I believe it's like a very generic name that's like Steve and Steve, right? There are a lot of Steves. So it kind of plays with that like uniqueness and just being a part of like
because it's such a common name.
Yeah. And
then I saw that there was a dog in the film. What did the dog have some kind of special meaning, or was he just for like the fun of it?
Yeah, we added the dog later, if I remember correctly. It was at the beginning, it was just the two guys. And then we added the birds and the dog, because the dog was kind of the commentator, kind of, because so we are so concerned about these, like being unique or being, what am I doing in my life, like career, whatever. But the dog is just like, living his life, just peeing, eating, licking himself. So it was kind of a part of that contrast there.
I really enjoyed seeing the dog. He was one of the few that made me laugh, for sure. He was definitely a funny guy. You're welcome. As I read your director's statement on the film site, I saw that you used the two men with the button-up shirts and being like everyone else, like you used to be in the button-up and you felt like you wanted to discover, and you used your creative side just to make this. Was that like a unique creative like way of showing I used to be trying to fit in the norm?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It was a part of it. Like, it's just, yeah, about just finding that creative spot and like going for it, I guess.
Okay.
Like, despite the society's expectations, or like what you need to do versus what you want to do, I guess.
So it's like a story telling you if you have something you dream of, fight for it and try not to give up, even if it doesn't seem as unique as you thought.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for anyone that would want to do stop animation? And what kind of advice would you give these people?
I would just tell them to do it, go for it. There's no rules. I mean, even in uh, like even bigger studios, when they're making stop motion films, there's always like room for discovery and invention. Like, I mean, there are some systems in place, but like it's just like it's such an inventive thing that like you cannot go wrong with it, almost. Like, so if anybody is interested in stop motion, just grab whatever you have, right? Grab a camera and just start doing it. Really.
It's more of a trial and error process.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have difficulties doing the film at all? Was there like some times where you felt like you should give up on the project at some points, or were you just fighting for it no matter what?
Always, there's always like moments that, this is not gonna work, I'm not gonna do it. And then pushing yourself to the finish line. It mostly, that's the delicate balance though, like, because what happens a lot of times is like when you don't know how to make something, then you give up. Like, you're more tend to give up. But like, if you kind of get out of that comfort zone and like just, do it scared, right? Like, even if you're scared, like, instead of stopping, like, just do it scared, and then it's gonna work itself out. And most of the time it works itself out. Like, you get an idea at some point. Like, if you want to do something, like, oh, I don't know how to do this shot, so like
Experiment with it.
one day you're like, oh, I can do this, and then it somehow works itself out.
So how do you feel once you finished the film and it got accepted into the Klamath film? How do you feel about that?
I feel very good. It's so rewarding. It's so nice to see that people enjoy it. Yeah, it's such a rewarding feeling. That's the best part, when it's done and like it's out there, and
Bringing some art to life.
yeah, exactly.
Do you have any final thoughts on Steve and Steve you would like to add? Any special things you would like to say about it and what you feel?
I cannot think of anything right now. Just thank you for selecting Steve and Steve, and thank you for this interview. It's been a pleasure. Yeah. I hope people enjoy it.
Thank you so much, Merve, for being part of the Klamath Independent Film Festival. Steve and Steve will stream on Sunday, September 18th at 5:15 in our Northern Shorts category.